Welcome to the 47th commemoration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We are celebrating his legacy, loyalty, and service. My name is Andre Cobrath, and I am the president of the Forum on Black Affairs. The Forum on Black Affairs is a proactive organization that constantly seeks out ways and means for positively impacting the university community. And this year, our commitment to celebrating Dr. King is stronger than ever. In an effort to commemorate his legacy, you will hear from Dr. Eric Barron, president of the Pennsylvania State University, Leslie Lane, former president of FOBA, as she brings forth our 2022 Fannie Lou Hamer and W.E.B. Du Bois Service Scholarship recipients, Lorraine Taylor, president of the State College chapter of the NAACP, as she brings forth community reflections. And we will honor one of our very own servant leaders, the late Mr. Alan Payne, followed by some closing remarks. Thank you for connecting with us as we celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Before we hear from Dr. Barron, we will play and ask you to sing, lift every voice and sing, the National Black Anthem.
Each year on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, I honor his legacy by reflecting on our progress in becoming more diverse, equitable, and inclusive. Many Penn Staters have personal memories of Dr. King. Some may have attended his speech in Rec Hall in 1965. Some of our students may have attended a school named in his honor, or were inspired by Dr. King by participating in an annual day of service. My own relationship with Dr. King's teaching was formed when I grew up in the segregated South. I saw firsthand inequities that spanned drinking fountains and restaurants and hotels, restrooms, voting, housing, and in schools. And the isolation and abuse that a lone Black student felt in my very large high school are powerful memories that I will never forget. There was also hope. As an Atlanta high school student walking in Dr. King's funeral procession, I saw tens of thousands of people send a message that Dr. King's voice was not going to be silenced by an assassin's bullet. I watched the highest court in the land consistently strike down segregation. In this context, we've come a long way as a nation. Gone are the ignorant whites-only signs and many Jim Crow laws. I can also mark the progress at Penn State but I can only do so if it is followed by an honest accounting of the level of disenfranchisement that continues today. A wise FOBA leader once told me that if we spend our time taking pride in what we've done, we will lose sight of how far it is that we must go. So first, I'm going to provide a few examples of progress, and then I'm going to revisit them. When Dr. King visited Penn State in 1965, of the 21,000 students attending Penn State, only about 300 were African American. The years since then have progressed slowly, but there's been significant change. Penn State is now more diverse, with 21% of our students identifying as part of underrepresented groups and women comprising nearly half of the undergraduate population. This academic year, we welcomed one of the largest underrepresented groups in university history. For the last 2 years, thousands of Penn Staters have participated in discussions on racial justice, and many of our community have responded by contributing to the work needed to make real and lasting change, including 6,000 employees and students who participated in panels focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion at an enterprise scale. In particular, our students have worked to send a public message on the importance of inclusivity. Importantly, Penn State has launched a national search to hire a director to establish the new Center for Racial Justice. Housed within the Social Sciences Research Institute, it will advance the recommendations of the Select Presidential Commission on Racism, Bias, and Community Safety. More importantly, the center will bring the power of our scholarship to address critical human and social problems centered on race. But now, more than 50 years later, we must still take perspective from Dr. King himself, who said in his Rec Hall speech, "We have come a long, long way in the struggle for racial justice, but we have a long, long way to go before the problem is solved." So let me return to those 3 topics that I mentioned about our progress. Whereas we can point to a community of students that is more diverse, we cannot make that point on the diversity of our faculty. And welcoming our most diverse class of students is not the same as retaining and graduating them at the same rate. We can point to our employees and students who participate in events that celebrate diversity and who are actively working to promote inclusivity. But our community also faces more overt expressions of racism today than occurred a decade ago. We cannot avoid the fact that mothers of Black sons have a deep worry about their safety, even when their sons are exercising simple tasks like going to a store. We can point to the power of our scholarship if we use our resources to develop a nationally recognized Center for Racial Justice. But the growing pressure to limit what we study and what we teach is profoundly disturbing. We have many challenges to overcome before we can achieve racial justice in society and within higher education. I try to remain hopeful, but I know we must remain focused. I hope we can take note of what we've accomplished together, but I know we must continue with passion and purpose. On Dr. King's birthday, I urge you to take a few moments to reflect on your role in creating a just community and world. Use your talents wisely and raise your voice for those who go unheard. Thank you for being a part of Penn State. Thank you for helping our community be a more welcoming and inclusive place for everyone. Thank you.
As I think about Dr. King and his legacy and the impacts it has on us as an organization, I'm reminded that Dr. King gives us an inclusive vision. one that instructs us to listen carefully, persuade through reasons, and build community while healing. And FOBA has an extensive history of reaching out and advocating for the needs of the community, faculty, staff, and students, constantly answering the question Dr. King considered to be one of life's most persistent and urgent questions is, what are you doing for others? I'm reminded in a quote that Dr. King stated that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. And FOBA has not been silent for 40 plus years of existence, and we don't intend to be. This year, we will continue to advocate and speak out about the injustices that plague our community, advocate for the increase of more Black faculty and staff and students at the institution, call on our allies and accomplices to aid in our efforts, and celebrate our victories, and highlighting the phenomenal work of our community members. Next, you will hear from Leslie Lang, former president of the Forum on Black Affairs, as she announced this year's Fannie Lou Hamer and W.E.B. Du Bois Service Scholarship recipients.
The Forum on Black Affairs pays tribute to Dr. King's extraordinary legacy, his loyalty and service for the past 47 years by bringing generations of diverse people together. And we hope that this visual and virtual presentation reminds you of our commitment to adding value, excellence, and empowering one another. We've come a long way in 47 years, but we still have work to do. To dream again, beloved community, to speak out and to stand up and to follow his legacy, demonstrate our loyalty, and diligently provide service to our community. This will make all the difference in our world. Dr. King's legacy, loyalty, and service was economic justice and human rights for the poor. His leadership made steadfast progression toward humanitarian rights that reach far beyond the civil rights movement. Today, we remember Alan Payne, also one of our past presidents for the Forum on Black Affairs. He served 2 terms, one in 2006 and the other in 2011. Alan passed away on September 11th, and he embodied Dr. King's civil engagement, and we wanted to acknowledge his service, his loyalty, and his legacy as a beloved member of the Forum on Black Affairs family. A veteran of the United States Army, a Morehouse man like Dr. King, Alan served as a director for the Applied Research Lab and worked at Penn State for nearly 40 years and was a generous contributor as well as a founder of scholarships. He would have been pleased to hear that FOBA has selected 2 recipients this year during the pandemic when the need is so great. The Forum on Black Affairs named its scholarships after 2 great humanitarians, Fannie Lou Hamer and W.E.B. Du Bois. Fannie Lou Hamer was a passionate, powerful voice of the civil and voting rights movements in Mississippi and a leader for the greater economic opportunities for African Americans. Fannie Lou Hamer was the only worker on a cotton plantation who could read and write and was the victim of forced sterilization to reduce the Black population. She was also denied the right to vote due to unfair literacy testing at the polling places. She was arrested and brutally beaten, but she co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. And she rose and she gave testimony at the Democratic National Convention, calling for mandatory integrated state delegations. And this became a reality in 1968. She also launched the Freedom Farm Cooperative, buying up 640 acres of land so that Blacks could own and farm collectively. She ensured that 200 units of low-income housing were built. Fannie Lou Hamer died at the young age of 59, and following her death nearly 20 years later, Fannie Lou Hamer was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame in 1993. W.E.B. Du Bois, a founding member of the NAACP, was the first Black American to earn a PhD from Harvard University. He considered himself a socialist. He also published articles in favor of unionized labor, although he called out union leaders for barring Black membership. He was also an activist who worked to transform the way Black citizens were seen in the American society. He used data to solve social issues for the Black community and through his famous writings. W.E.B. Du Bois said, "One ever feels the two-ness, an American, a Negro, two souls, two thoughts, two unreconciled strivings, two warring ideals in one dark body, who dogged strength alone keeps it from being torn asunder." He was also known for lobbying the United Nations and the global body to acknowledge the suffering of Black Americans and to end lynching. He died the day before the historic March on Washington. FOBA is pleased to carry on the true legacies of Fannie Lou Hamer and W.E.B. Du Bois, and we are pleased to announce that we have two fabulous students who espouse the ideals of sharing their lived experiences at Penn State to create a more inclusive environment for all students and building community through their service. We congratulate and name Brianna White and Sarah Estemy, the Fannie Lou Hamer and W.E.B. Du Bois Scholarship recipients for 2022.
When you think about service leadership and servanthood, you cannot help but think about our late brother, Alan Payne. Because of his work and the outstanding contributions to the organization, we are so moved by him. We decided that we're going to donate $500 to the Alan Payne Scholarship. Yes, you heard it, $500. As Brother Payne really lived out the values of Dr. King in terms of service and legacy to the community. Lorraine Taylor, president of the State College NAACP chapter, will now bring forth some community reflections.
Hi, my name is Lorraine Jones, and it is an honor to be here with you today on behalf of the State College and broader region, Center Region NAACP. No figure is more closely tied to giving community service, civil rights, and the NAACP than Dr. King. Still today, his dedication to justice and serving his community inspires thousands of ordinary people to extraordinarily serve globally. For it is those like Dr. King who serve selflessly we can continue to secure equity and justice for all humanity. So today, as we celebrate the legacy and life and accomplishments of Dr. King, let us not forget the everyday people that give selfless service to our community. On behalf of State College and the broader Center Region NAACP, I thank you for your continuous support and thank all of the community members and organizations that continue to serve our community. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
A hallmark of Dr. King's legacy was driving people to action. And in these closing remarks, I'll do the same. Commit today in learning how FOBA carries out Dr. King's vision and legacy in our work. Visit www.fobapsu.org to learn more. Consider donating to our Fannie Lou Hamer W.E.B. Du Bois Service Scholarship. If you visit fobapsu.org/donate, you can submit your donation there today. Whatever you do, you must do something. Thank you for joining us. you.